This Saturday, UFC 274, we have a showcase for the ages of the lightweight division, the 155-pound division. Let's start it off by just going through the fights. We got Charles Oliveira versus Justin Gaethje. Michael Chandler versus Tony Ferguson. It doesn't get more box office than that in the 155-pound division this side of Conor McGregor. Charles Oliveira has quickly risen to become one of the most definitive champions in the UFC, beating the likes of Dustin Poirier, Michael Chandler, Tony Ferguson, beating all the big names that were at the top of the food chain in that division to attain this meteoric rise through the ranks and become the champion. I gotta say, if he beats Justin Gaethje, he solidifies himself in history because he just went through the ringer. It's a very, very, very impressive list of names that he's defeated. Justin Gaethje looks to avoid becoming another one of those names. Justin Gaethje, the kickboxer, the former interim champion, the number one ranked 155-pounder in the world, looks to upset because he is going in as the underdog versus Charles Oliveira, the champion du Bronx. Do I think he's going to do it? No. The reason I think he's not is because Charles Oliveira in both of his last fights has gotten rocked. I will admit. Against Michael Chandler as well as Dustin Poirier, he did get rocked. But he shows resilience and the heart of a champion, refuses to be finished, gets up and defeats both of his adversaries. I mean, what more do you want? He submits a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt in Dustin Poirier and TKOs Michael Chandler. That's impressive. Now, Justin Gaethje is, in my opinion, the hardest task on the feet that he would have faced. Because Justin Gaethje's striking is immense. His leg kicks are nothing to laugh about. He may have the hardest leg kicks in the division, if not the UFC. Charles Oliveira needs to work around that. But I think the moment this goes to the ground, there is a clear and decisive advantage for Charles Oliveira. And that's going to be the difference. Because there's levels to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. There's a lot of black belts in the UFC. But among those black belts, there's a 1% category. The likes of Charles Oliveira, the likes of Brian Ortega are among that you can't counter. They're just so natural, so fluid, so effective in their movements that they beat you to the spot every single time. And there's a difference in the groundwork of Khabib versus Charles Oliveira. Khabib is immense, suffocating pressure where he will take you down, drag you down, put you in the deep end, 7-foot waters. Charles Oliveira is very fluid. It's like a python. He just slithers, takes your back, gets your rear naked, and you're going to sleep. Justin Gaethje is going to look to avoid that outcome. And if Justin Gaethje can finish Charles Oliveira early on in the first round, where the other two challengers have failed, I think he will emerge the victor. But if I were to make a pick with my heart right now, I'm going with Charles Oliveira. His charisma, his pizzazz, his fight, his will. It's so entertaining to watch him fight. And that's why I think he's going to win this. Tony Ferguson versus Michael Chandler is the second fight on the UFC 274 card in the 155-pound division. And I got to say, both these fighters do need a victory. Both of them are coming off losses. Both of them actually fought previously. The two individuals fighting for the belt. Tony Ferguson and Michael Chandler need to get this victory. Justin Gaethje versus Michael Chandler was one of the greatest fights I've ever witnessed. It won Fight of the Year, and it is in the Hall of Fame for a reason. The king of inspiration and always being positive, Michael Chandler, in his UFC career, has only attained one victory, and that was against Dan Hangman Hooker. Dan Hooker at the time was one of the top 155-pounders in the UFC. and they had a very good fight. It was a very definitive victory for a Mr. Michael Chandler. Tony Ferguson himself is coming off of 3 losses to Charles Oliveira and Justin Gaethje. He desperately needs a victory. He just recently lost to Beneil Dariush, and ever since that Justin Gaethje fight, he has not looked the same. It clearly took a lot out of him. It was a very devastating loss. He did not look good in the fight, and it hurts to see, especially considering the run he had earlier in his career from the time of 2013 all the way till 2019, winning every single fight, including fights against Cowboy Cerrone, Anthony Showtime Pettis, Kevin Lee, RDA, Gleason Tebow, Edson Barbosa. These are all big name fighters that Tony Ferguson has beaten in the past, definitively getting multiple performance of the nights, multiple fight of the nights, winning the interim belt, however, getting that taken away due to a severe injury he suffered, and not being able to prove once and for all that he was the greatest 155-pounder in the world at the time because of the infamous Khabib Nurmagomedov versus Tony Ferguson matchup that we never got to see, which is unfortunate. 5 cancellations is rough, and he deserved that opportunity but was never able to get it. I hope he can bounce back. I want to see him bounce back. I just don't think Tony Ferguson is the same fighter we all fell in love with back in our day. And I think Michael Chandler is going to get the victory because he is a very powerful fighter, very good wrestler. Tony Ferguson's always dangerous with the submissions, but I just don't think he will be able to lock in a beautiful triangle choke like he did to Kevin Lee to get Michael Chandler out of the fight. Because if this goes all the way to a 3-round decision, I don't see Tony Ferguson winning this fight. What would be next for these fighters? In the event of a Tony Ferguson win, I think he goes and has another fight, potentially another fight against Beneil Dariush. For Michael Chandler, I think it's the same thing. I think he needs another fight. A good opponent for him would be maybe Dustin Poirier or a Conor McGregor. You know, got to secure that paycheck, got to secure the bag. Although there's only talk of Conor McGregor coming back for a title fight, which I completely do not agree with. That would be ridiculous. In the event of a loss, I don't know where that leaves Tony Ferguson, to be honest, because that's 4 losses in a row. In the UFC, that typically means the end of a career. It would be rough to see it. I think Tony Ferguson needs to go and fight maybe a lower ranked or unranked fighter, maybe to get some confidence back. But he's been fighting great fighters. I mean, Gaethje, Oliveira, and Dariush. One's a champion, one's number 1 in the world, and one's top 5. It's just rough to see. I don't think Tony Ferguson is going to be that top 5 fighter we all miss and fell in love with. I hope he doesn't lose, but I got to be real with myself. It's Michael Chandler is going to win this fight. Michael Chandler, in the event of a loss, I think he goes and fights maybe... Fiziev? That'd be sick. I would love to see Fiziev versus Michael Chandler now that I think about it. But my official prediction is Michael Chandler will win this fight handedly. Let me know what you guys think down below. I gave you guys my prediction for Charles Oliveira versus Justin Gaethje, Michael Chandler versus Tony Ferguson. I'm taking Oliveira and Michael Chandler. Yeah, I'm excited for this card. Let me know what you guys think.